Shoot! I surrender.
We're not gonna shoot you.
We want to re-educate you.
You see, son, you're just the product of an alienated economic class, lashing out because you feel powerless and unloved.
You've been disenfranchised by the bourgeois power structure.
That's right.
I stole a car. I'm a thief.
Well, son, if you think about it, all property is theft. not, put your hands over your head!
I can't! I'm a Tyrannosaurus!
Hello! Welcome, everyone. We are the Red Army.
Well, okay then.
I love those intros.
Sal, you are muted.
Oh no! Okay, I was only muted to you guys, so it's fine. Everyone else heard me. But what I was saying was, hi, we're the Red Army, and today we're here with a special guest, Comrade Clever Name, and we are going to be talking about anti-intellectualism.
Yes, hello. Thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I don't have we don't have any sort of thing prepared. We were just gonna have an open discussion, and what I was
Okay, hold
hoping
on.
to do is kinda,
So I'm gonna interrupt you right now.
Yeah.
It's already started. So Native says, okay, before we start, can Kooks take off his shirt?
Y'all have been catching Kooks' thirst
No.
traps on the timeline?
This is how we win. All right. Anyways, yeah, man, that's how you get them, right? No, I'm not gonna take off my shirt. That's a different stream. You can catch that on Sunday nights. All right. Anyways, good start. That was great. Yeah. So we don't. Oh, you'll be there. Oh, great. All right. Yeah. So we don't have a plan for this. It's gonna be kind of an open discussion. What we're hoping to do is kind of take some points and connect them back to anti-intellectualism and how it affects the effectiveness. That's a weird sentence, but it influences how effective the movement becomes, right? How effective what the left is doing. Is it actually going to bring us change, for example? So it is very important. Me personally, I know the rest of the people here can also support that view of people do need to actually read. I have to say it. Just like read a book, man. I'm gonna get that out of the way. One of those, and that's it. So, anyways, so we're actually gonna get serious. But that's kind of my starting message to the
Sounds
chat.
elitist.
Is read a book. Yeah, I know,
Sounds
right?
elitist.
Okay, and I know we're gonna have some showcase tweets to kind of exemplify the kind of thing we're talking about. That's what I'm going to introduce about the topic. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add in terms of what we plan on doing.
Ride. I'm just here.
Let's go.
Okay, so...
So we're not dunking on nerds?
We are the nerds.
I mean, yeah, right, technically, like, yeah, we're the nerds, which is, I mean, I think it's a good thing in this case. Yes, read a book, but specifically the text of Posada. Yes, only read Posada's theory. Anything else doesn't count. Okay.
So this is the vibe that's going around right now. I'm gonna read you a tweet. I'm not gonna tell you this person, but like, you'll know who it is.
Oh boy.
If you grew up in poverty, you do not need theory. Marx wrote theory and never started one revolution. He literally did nothing with his theory.
Okay. I know who that is. Shit.
I know who it is because I'm looking at the shared tweet right now.
You're looking at the... Oh, yeah, we are. Oh, I didn't even see it on the other screen. Yeah.
Knowing
God,
who it is
that
by
one
cheating.
is like...
Sal, your mic is very
yeah, it's
quiet.
true. We have the cheat sheet. Oh, man. That's
Okay, let me
embarrassing.
see if this fixed it. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I'll get us started real quick on what I think about that. I also have a cheat sheet because I am seeing my reply to this person. And that is that, again, the argument that Marx just kind of analyzed the world goes and didn't do anything about it also goes directly and against what Marx actually did in his lifetime, him and Engels. And that was that they were driven out of some countries for their revolutionary activity. I mean, they weren't just sitting in offices and just writing and being like, oh yeah, this one's a banger, put it out, right? No, they were actually organizing. They were actually part of organizations. They were involved with the First International. They were active.
Also, I added to that, shit did happen during that time. They were a part of it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just, you know, there was definitely failures, but that's not to say Marx himself was a failure in his theories.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Absolutely.
I think with a good portion of what you're going to see in this thread of anti-intellectualism, you're going to notice a very common concept wherein the idea of it is this idea of a necessary divide between theory and reality, wherein theory by itself is simply, in and of itself, a text that had been made for like full force from the mind palace of these people, and not a post hoc writing down of what someone had done, is presently doing, as an attempt to document what they're doing in the case that it works or does not work. There's no like understanding of theory as a scientific paper, rather than philosophy that you would be taught in a Western university classroom. Just this object that had sprang forth from nothing, beyond the mind of the author, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, theory is a lived experience in a book. This is what the people
And
are
the whole
living.
point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of it is to learn from their mistakes.
Mhm.
I mean, they write this down because like this is what has historically worked for movements, or they write down what corrections they made. For example, I mean, there are so many texts that just show you what kind of organization certain, or how they were organizing, like certain like communist groups in different countries. And I mean, again, like Mao has books on corrections made to the party. What is to be done, in my opinion, is really underrated. For example, that's something that, I mean, I just finished it, so it's fresh in my mind. But it's so good because it tells you what was missing in this time. And for anyone who does read it or has read it, you will or have known that it is so similar to the kind of stuff we're facing today.
Yeah,
There's like no direction. And
what is to be done, I think State and Rev just overshadows it. So that's what the only text really from London that people talk about is, second to imperialism, highest age, capitalism. Like, those are the really only two I see people talk about from London.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, like, I think I understand about what is to be done is there's a lot of like niche organizations that he references, like Raboshia Idelo and Raboshia Musul, but like you can get past that because you can like look those up, and I do recommend you look them up. Or there's actually I'll try and link it later. There's a Spotify from who's it? Red Menace on Spotify, and they have like a sort of a breakdown of the book, and it's good because it kind of tells you like what these newspapers are. And what
if you don't want to read it so badly, at least listen to Red Menace.
Yeah.
I
mean, like, they have good stuff.
It's not like Galileo.
Like, a lot of the origin of what I was getting at before with this sort of, like, cognitive understanding of what theory is because most of these people who, like, patently reject theory entirely are usually from a middle-class background, so their understanding of philosophical or economic tests, etc., are as this completely alienated and isolated object that just lectured at them, and are usually and very frequently viewed as homework.
Oh yeah.
Right. Where you don't see this as a you're not seeing this in a scientific way where you are also a researcher in the field of societal change. You see this as a book that you need to learn because it's going to be on the test later. This isn't something.
At the end of the stream, there's going to be a test.
There's
you should be taking notes.
There's no learning to be done by these books. There's simply a list of facts to remember to then recite in a month or two when it's time for tests.
Yeah.
Yeah, that characterization.
The test is the revolution.
Of this is just it is arrogance, and that's really funny because the next comment I'm going to read is theory that comes with arrogance never reaches the working class. A theory coming from people outside of their communities will get the same issues. I talk all about we're not going to read the last part.
They'll go on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea that like this is above working class people and like it is so strange to me because this is the tools for working class people to liberate themselves. This is specifically written for the working class to understand. So I feel like the characterization is just, I don't know. Like, it comes from a clear lack of reading the fucking theory. Like, you don't even know what it's for.
In this moment, the person gives the game away, where before they started the thread off with the idea that, like, well, I've lived this experience. I am underneath the boot. I am at the deepest point of the capitalist boot. Right. I don't need no theory because I already know all of it. I already know how much capitalism sucks. And then here they are then coming out with this very elitist, well, workers are just too stupid to read. Assigning themselves as necessarily something outside of workers, smarter than workers, because they could, if they wanted to, read it. They just don't need to.
Yeah.
Which also aligns itself with another thread in the sort of way of thinking about things, wherein the object of theory is not a research in the study of change. It is simply a book that tells you that capitalism is bad. That is what Marx wrote 500 billion words and died in the middle of one of his books, just saying over and over again, as if there were that scene in The Shining, just capitalism bad, capitalism bad. And every single book subsequent to that is the same thing.
Yeah, he did write that. Engels just cut it out because it's like, okay.
He was like, bro, you're repeating yourself way too many times.
No, but the thing is, Capital is a deep and tough read, but he did write it in such a repetitive manner so it would stick with someone who isn't, on a high level or whatever. He isn't like, academic or whatever. That's why he wrote it like in a very repetitive nature, just so people could understand it. When you read it, you're like, wow, this is a lot, but at least you're gonna be understanding what you're reading.
But again, even in that moment, we must recognize that capital is not simply a laundry list of every way capital bad.
Yeah.
It is a comprehensive recounting of the construction of capital, the pre-state of capital, the way capital interacts with the modern society, so on and so forth. But with the understanding of these people here that we're reviewing right now, the understanding is simply 3 gigantic tomes that are nothing but the words capital bad repeated ad infinitum. And a way of this one can even note is like the more modern critical works, most like infamously constructed by movements like the bread tube movement, etc., wherein these videos are predominantly a person with some fancy lighting saying for 2 hours capital bad with no real constructive point to any of it. Just a simple grocery list of every way that your life currently sucks and no means by which to interact with that. Simply misery posting about the dreadful modern condition.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of, I think I'm gonna go real quick to the extreme, for example, and there's a good comment from Quiche, which is that you can know that the world is fucked without reading theory, but again, it won't radicalize you towards anti-capitalism necessarily. You can become a reactionary, and that's a good point. And I think a good example of that, to go again to an extreme, but something that happens, is that radicalization is not coming from theory, right? So this is the first step: is that radicalization is coming from sort of observation, but analysis of this divestment from acceptance of like this middle line that you're going down, that doesn't necessarily just show up, right? You can become anti-capitalist or anti-traditional liberal democracy, capitalism, parliamentarism, but you don't have to. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have now become a communist. It's a lot more complicated than that. And for example, you could even move right. I mean, if we're talking anti-establishment,
Richard Spencer
fascists
is
are anti-establishment.
Anti-establishment, famously, you know.
I'm glad he
Fascist,
actually fell
like-
off the face of the
like
world. Nobody talks about him anymore. I'm just so happy about that.
Mm. And that's a big problem with the anti-theory left, because a lot of it runs from this presumption of an accelerationism, right? Wherein this idea is, well, obviously, the world is bad, right? Things suck, and if people are made aware of the fact that things suck, they will, from that, develop into my hyper-specific brand of like whatever, right? My like like de-Leonist market syndicalist post-leftism, right? And people will just awaken to this true ideology like they had been struck by the bolt of God when they look around and say, damn, my life sucks. And that's like the base presumption of everyone. They're
Yeah, pretty much everyone could agree to that. Like, things kind of suck, but
Yeah,
and
it doesn't immediately make you a communist to know that. Like,
that is a big problem with the anti-theory left, whatever.
and the fact that people will take in information and interpret it with their own already extant frames and come to conclusions from those frames is completely disregarded, rather than in this idealistic view of input data, specific data will be output as response, in this very mechanical way of thinking about things, which is not paid out at all in reality. We can observe that.
yeah.
So another
Actually,
thing that I want to say. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead, Kooks.
No, go ahead. I was gonna do something else, but you can go ahead.
I wanted to say that, like, another mischaracterization of people who don't read theory is that you need theory to be a good person. So one person said, I didn't need to read theory to know how to be a good person, and neither should anyone else. And it's like...
No one says that. No one says that.
No one has ever claimed that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just like that. I mean, this is why you need to read it, because at least you know what it's about.
Yeah.
Oh my god. These people honestly think that we have determined that, if you haven't read a book, you're a bad person. Look, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's like really a crazy conclusion to come to.
Horrible person until I read State and Rev. All of a sudden, I was a saint.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. You have to be taught please and thank you as a child. No, you're actually a terrible child unless your parent is reading you State and Rev before bed. Like, I'm sorry, that's just that's how it is. If they're not,
You're gonna have to do that.
Bad child.
All right, let's have a bedtime story. All right, State and Rev.
Another
Wait, hold on.
characterization...
Bedtime?
Oh my god. That's
Can't talk about bedtimes, guys.
hierarchy.
That's unjust hierarchy. Yeah. Nope.
So another person says, I find the adherence to ideologies to be wildly dangerous, and I see the same dangerous thinking among these communists that I saw growing up with Catholics. It limits your views, draws lines that shouldn't exist, and makes enemies out of who are potentially allies. There is so much to fucking unpack with this one.
That's bad. First of all, anyone who
here.
says ideologies are dangerous is just a fucking idiot.
Well,
That's
this
like
is an Assange's too, so...
Epic
yes, I'm
centuries.
extremely shocked. No kidding. Carry on.
Being anti-ideology is an ideology within itself.
That's true.
And ideology is in everything, like, like in everything you do is literally ideological, it's ideology. It's some level, you know, because of the influences
Yeah.
and the reasons why you're doing that. I don't know. Watch Zizek. Ideology.
Ideology.
Ideology. Sniff, yeah. Yeah, I'm not an ideological, I'm a free thinker.
With this, we see
That
like
just means you
some
found
current.
QAnon.
With this, we see some currents of like sort of hyper-individualism, wherein the concept of a belief in something bigger than yourself or an individual's as a pure concept is inevitably and inextricably evil in some way. Like communism, it's like the same as Catholicism, right? It's this belief in a higher thing than yourself, whether it be this idea of the future or if it's a belief in God. It's entirely superfluous because it is still inextricably with this vile quality that reduces the individual to an individual within a group underneath a thing, and thereby itself being utterly anti-free, for anti-freedom, anti-liberty, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I find when people, and that's something that they do. Obviously, is kind of that comparison of comparing an ideology that's like comes from like a well-studied scientific analysis and comparing it to something that is extremely sort of dogmatic and within defined lines. Like I don't want to name any religions, but you know, like a lot of religions are like that. It's like it's defined, right? It's like this is the line of thinking that we have, as opposed to something like Marxism, which comes with self-criticism to enhance and encourage growth, basically, and progression and refinement of ideas. And so, yeah, it's pretty bad to kind of compare it in that way, because it itself relies on adjustment based on the material conditions. So it's not static; it has to change, and that's what makes it extremely unique as a sort of method of analysis, which people would get if they read the books. But yeah.
Another thing that was said to me, you know, in this from this anti-intellectual crowd is that why does he need to read theory? Because he can come to the same conclusions that Marx came from, like up with. And I'm like, oh really?
Down.
You're gonna write the whole fucking book of Capital again without reading it?
3.
I mean, it is not impossible. Marx had observed reality.
Yeah.
It's just the question of it. What people like this are saying, like, is it possible? Yes, of course it's possible. Marx just simply observed the world around him and wrote it down. You won't do certain things that say get the things that Marx got wrong because you're not a Jewish German man from the late 1800s who's only ever lived in Western Europe, right? You're not going to get the same things wrong that he did. You'll get different things wrong. But, like, what is the purpose of doing that? Because what you're saying at the same time is, I don't need to have your wheel. I will simply invent my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, you can do that, but what's the function of doing that? Why do you want to start from the beginning again instead of going from where we are right now?
Yeah, instead of this person already made the wheel. Why invent the wheel again and just get started on inventing the car? Put the wheel onto the car, you know? Instead of, starting from step one, just start where they started and add your parts to where you're going.
Yeah.
You know?
And of course, all these different trends have different origins, because we should note that different types of anti-intellectualism and stuff come from different points, while they all sort of coagulate in the same knot in the center here, which is in progress and stagnation and pointless social conflicts and such. We should note that different anti-intellectualisms originate from different places and serve different functions in themselves for the people who spout them, right? There is liberal anti-intellectualism, left anti-intellectualism, right anti-intellectualism.
Right.
There are a bunch of different strands of that. Okay, so here's a statement I want you to listen to. Just accept that theory is not for everyone.
Okay. All right. Like here's okay. I do wanna draw a connection here, a sort of analogy. Here's the deal. So I'm gonna give an example because let's say because we are scientific about this, so it uses the scientific method. All right. Okay. Let's draw a comparison. When people were, let's say, initially discovering what gravity is, okay, you do experiments. You affect or you change the material conditions to see what the response is. And that response, you document it, okay? So that's what happens. They write it down. And this is what happened based on what we did. Then someone else comes along and studies that and uses it to further develop scientific theories, and that's what they did later in like the early 1900s. They expand on the concept of gravity and bring it into a different sort of field of like quantum physics, for example. It's the same thing. No one is rewriting theories that have already been written in science.
Imagine
Right,
if like physicists were like, this theory is actually pretentious. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to do something. I'm just going to do my own thing.
The same thing.
There is
And
a lot
the
of scientists.
Just
people
as
end up-
pretentious.
There is a lot of scientists who do that.
Yeah.
They're called quacks.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, we have
here's the thing,
kind
like-
of a chat, a troll in the chat.
Troll? Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
So-
At first, I
Yeah,
was
I'm
like,
just leaving
what?
them. I'm just leaving them.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a mask. If I took it off, I would blow you away. So I'm sorry. I'm keeping it on just to keep you alive for now.
It's,
We're gonna
it's
go
for
on.
our protection.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh,
too.
God.
It's too.
Wait.
It's too stunning.
Arminius the Wise. Excuse me, Nazbol gang. We are not
Cool.
doing that.
Okay.
Are you trolling
The
right
fuck?
now? Because you will get banned from this chat like immediately. I'm really not trying to
it
troll.
out.
Well, then just like be
Okay.
like less of an anti-intellectual because like
Pro Bolsheviks. Yeah, Bolsheviks weren't Nazbols. And actually, if you knew anything about history, you know that one of the main anti-communist talking points was equating them or calling them the Judeo-Bolsheviks to draw fear against Jewish people as all of them being communists. So, good day. Going on. What a stupid fucking...
okay. So
comparison.
another thing,
Dude,
that
what
was
is it?
said
Okay, hold
is-
on.
Oh, sorry.
The fuck is with... What is it with the mask, dude? I don't understand the obsession. The mask just throws me off.
Just
I don't know. You don't have to watch the stream. Like, what the fuck?
It's actually
Oh,
mandatory.
the mask makes me
to
uncomfortable.
watch this
That's
stream.
cool. I'm wearing it. Not you, bro. Like, damn.
so
I don't sound like how you expected. I mean, I don't know what you thought I sounded like, but thanks.
Or sorry.
another person says, I am listening and declining to read theory. And honestly, the education job smells of just as much snobbery as as a university grad sneering at a blue collar worker. Consider some people rely on lived experiences over theory.
Oh my god. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Theory is
Hold
not
on.
for everyone. Is very much a sort of understanding politics and sort of subjects like this as personal choices. It's more or less the same as picking a cereal brand or ordering a coffee at Starbucks. Politics has no meaning beyond a pure aesthetic value in the bizarre cultured war, right? Where there's no ideological differences. Any ideological difference is just a cult waiting to happen and kill a million gajillion.
Yeah.
No, a lot of these
Yeah.
people who say theory is not for me, then I'm not going to read it. Fine, whatever, but then shut up. Because the way you guys talk, it's very evident you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Because a lot of the time, a lot of these people are still talking about commodities and how they want commodities and stuff, and how it's still going to be around, it's still going to be a thing. Like, no, what? We're going to end commodity production.
Yeah. So I'm gonna add a couple more things because I do have to hop off in probably like 20 minutes.
Sure.
But I do want to add a few couple last points, which is kind of the what I understand from intellectuals, and we brought it up before, but I want to kind of go a bit deeper into it, and that is this issue of dogma, of kind of taking everything and filing it into clear, sort of unchanging definitions that apply to everything. So, and this is something that I notice is, I'm gonna start World War III right now, but is a lot of what happens is the anti-intellectuals kind of slip into using dogma, and that slips them into, and the dogma affects how they analyze, for example, the state, right? And from that, I find a lot of people become anarchists, and this is a point that I do want to draw upon, is that I had, like, myself, I did have that, what I would call the anarchist phase, and I say phase because eventually I
Read a book.
read a book. I read a book. All right. What else do you want me to say? I read a book. But that initial phase, it was because I didn't have that understanding of how the state isn't just the same thing in every single sort of epoch of human history. I didn't look at how it progressed and how it changed form, and how the current state isn't even the same as the last state, and it won't be the same as the socialist state. And but again, because I personally did not, I knew what Marxism was, but I didn't grasp it, so I just put it aside, and I basically decided, I haven't, I understand that what I'm living under right now is bad. And from that, I drew the conclusion that the state is bad because it is the state doing these things, right? And that's from my lived experiences, seeing this kind of stuff happen. But again, I did not analyze the state as a progression and where it came from and where it's going to go. I just simply looked at it in this metaphysical way of, this is the state, period, right? And again, I, from this, didn't read a single thing until eventually I found Marx and I had an awakening.
I started reading when but other Marxists were making, or not other, because I wasn't a Marxist at the time, but people started pointing out how wrong I was, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for me, it took a while because I was kind of like, oh, you're wrong about this, block. And I just completely ignored it. But at the same time, I'm not an idiot, so those questions was still in the back of my mind, and I just was trying my best to ignore it. But after a while, I was like, I couldn't ignore it anymore. How the hell are we gonna do all this stuff? And then that's when I started reading theory. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, now this makes sense.
I think I think a lot of what has been said in the last moment was true. I would disagree, though, that there's a unique quality of anarchism as an ideology, because anarchy does have a theory and source. Of course, I don't necessarily agree with it in whole, but the quality of this anti-intellectual quality, this anti-theory quality, is not a trait of anarchy, because we can also see this in MLM circles, etc., and different post-left circles or so forth, different concept. Now, granted, at the same time, the most frequent believers of this refer to themselves as anarchists, but I think the more appropriate term would be Western left, wherein this tendency is nearly exclusive to the Western Europe and North America and these different countries and nations. This anti-theory trend, because we can see this in different ideologies, whether it's syndicalism, classical Marxism, or Marxism just without the word, Marxism without adjectives, left communism, etc. These different ideologies themselves will also refer to them, so will go forth and be against theory and fight tooth and nail against the learning of theory, instead preferring to hunker down and start from here. Now, this is as necessity a trend against Soviet socialism. This is a lot of this originates from the Cold War and the belief that the theory that had been written inextricably leads towards a negative outcome, i.e., a million gajillion brillion dead.
Right.
Bad manism, right? This understanding of it. Therefore, people have to latch onto a form of leftism because they understand, due to their either their personal progressivism or the innate progressivism of their class, they have to develop a ideology around that believed fact. And the most self-evident one is anarchism. So then they refer to themselves as anarchists. It's the reason why, for instance, BreadTube was called BreadTube. It's after the Peter Kropotkin book, which most people who follow or subscribers of BreadTube, etc., don't even understand. They've never heard of Peter Kropotkin.
Yeah.
No.
Most of them actually, they do identify as anarchists. And
it's typically a self sort of ascribed thing, kind of like when people self-describe anarchists.
They simply understand that word to mean the good boy socialism rather than the bad man, rather than a meaningful political ideology.
Yeah. This is hey, we are the hopeful guys. We're the people who just want things to be better. And, but we gotta have to ignore these evil tankies who just wants to control everybody and kill everyone. Like, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, that argument of, like, I just want things to be better for everyone. It's like, no one has said that's not the intention of this. But also, again, if you want to have things be better, I mean, you need a plan, right? You can't. I mean, I want the world to be a better place. I can't just get up and just do it. I have to have a tactic to actually get there. I need a method, but also on two fronts. The fight for socialism is also it's not solely, a moral or an ethical question. It's also a question of understanding materialist progression of history. So it's actually like it's for the betterment of the people, and it is sort of reconciling and resolving these contradictions that are facing us in the materialist sense. It does both, but through doing that, you naturally have a betterment of society. So when people say, I just want things better, it's like, okay, how are you going to do that? Right? You do need a plan. I mean, everyone wants things to get better. I mean, unless you're a masochist, I guess. But
there is a passive sort of oeuvric belief on how things will get better via this sort of rapturous quality where one day conditions will achieve a certain point through the inextricable march of history, where at this grand juncture point of history, the revolution will happen with a capital T and capital R, and the good guys will win, and then things are good. What had made this happen? Simply more or less the will of God. The trumpets had sounded, sort of thing, rather than any interaction with you as a political agent. It's a history without people, really.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, a lot of it.
And we can see this trend throughout a lot of history. If you read the works of Bakunin, you can see he thinks like this a lot, and a lot of modern backwardness can be put towards in Bakuninite theory. Same with the misanthropy and this rapture understanding of a revolution and so forth.
Yeah, a lot of people do say, like, when the revolution happens. Like, excuse me, that's not, like, how, like, your characterization is all wrong. It's not, like, going to be something that just fucking happens. Revolution is something that you build and that you work for, or else you're not going to create a new society, which is the goal of revolution.
You can see a lot of this with their praxis as well, which is, Lenin would call it economism or chaserism, wherein they just sort of sit around, talk amongst themselves, share around pamphlets to themselves, being like, I think this one's fire or not. then when a protest happened, a spontaneous protest happened, or a believed spontaneous protest happened, one should note spontaneity does not exist. But when a union just sort of gets ready and does a march that they've been planning for months, but they haven't heard about it, so I guess it just happened at like a lightning strike, they will go out and support it either by standing around with their personal flag, or with a sign that they've written in crayon, or barring all that, just posting on Twitter that this is very neat. And this is how they interact with politics, as this thing that just happens, and they give support to it in a very saccharine, sociable way until it ends, and either they win because history and God had said that they will win this time, or it loses because God says they lose this time. And then they go home and wait for the next one.
Right.
Magoki has said, I think it's important to distinguish that people involved in anti-colonial liberation that haven't read theory aren't anti-intellectual. They aren't waiting for a revolution. They're doing it, you know? And yes, you're right. That is important to point out.
All right. Well, on that note, I do have to head out. Because we do have something in like 10 minutes. But this has been fun. You guys keep talking about this. It's pretty important. It's pretty important to me. I think a lot of people don't kind of attribute how much not like doing as much as we personally can to better educate ourselves on this, on how to organize and how to become more effective in our daily lives, for example. I don't think people give it enough attention as to how much it's holding us back, especially in the U.S. So yeah, that's kind of my last thing. And on that note, I'm going to head out.
Thanks for being here, Kooks. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, this was
Goodbye,
great.
Kooks. Goodbye.
I will see you all. Thanks again for joining us, Clever Name. It was great having you on. And I will be heading out. See you guys.
Do we want to talk for a little bit more, or do we want to raid? We can raid out too, either one.
I can continue to speak if that's wanted.
What do you want, Reggie? Just keep talking?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with keeping talking, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so... Freaking anti-intellectualism. It's a bitch.
You see someone put all lives matter in the chat?
Oh, son of a bit. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's pay attention to chat. Let's read chat really quick. We'll go back and we'll read chat, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so Blot says culture is a part of what you draw from in developing your ideology, whether consciously or unconsciously, and it can be hard for Westerners to see things outside of an individualist mindset.
Yeah, America definitely props up the whole, it raises you in the whole, we are by ourselves, we are the individual, that we do not work together, it's every man for himself. That is how we get the culture today. This is how we get the culture where people don't want to wear a mask because of what bothers them. It doesn't matter if they get other people killed. That's just how people are raised.
Oh, and there's
maybe
a
not by the
resurgence
parent themselves,
too,
but the society. Yeah.
A resurgence too of anti-mask within the left now.
Mm-hmm. Because it's about what they feel like.
I had seen on r/Anarchism 101, I believe, a discussion of like, hey, so all of my friends are saying they aren't wearing masks because the authority told them to. Does anyone else have that same problem? Yeah, it's like there is this distinctive problem in the West wherein a complete rejection of discomfort and any amount of like authority in any form, just this complete rejection of a perceived superior telling you something to do. And that's a good instinct in moderation, right? We would
Yeah.
not be here if we are not rejecting authority in
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
meaningful way,
'cause, I
but
mean,
to a pathological extent in America, it exists. And there are, of course, also the element of not being able to comprehend other people as being people, that someone outside of you exists and your actions will affect them. Things you do are not done on an island unto yourself, but they are done to other people, and that every action you take has an effect, this sort of rippling effect on everything else around you, whether it's an object or people. And if it's an object, then it's just 5 steps removed from another person. There's a complete lack of a holistic understanding of reality itself.
yeah, I mean, obviously there is definitely, we're not telling people to automatically trust everything the capitalist authority says. No, none of us are saying that. But of course, there is definitely a moment where you have to look and see what they're not gonna. I don't want to say they're gonna tell the truth, because I mean, yeah, at the points there are definitely going to be points where they say,
But they say
"All
I'm
right,
a
guys, look,
tanky,
we have
I'm
no
a
chance,
tanky,
but-"
yeah I'm a tanky, yeah I'm a tanky. We're riding that tank, mowing down the fucking snowflakes.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
the solution to that is, of course, I think, a healthy skepticism,
yeah,
where you understand, like, the American state, of course, in this particular instance, has used vaccination against different communities, right?
yeah, vaccination
Canada
been
has, for
used
instance,
against
like,
it, yeah.
as part of vaccination programs, sterilized Native women, for instance, or
And the
using
Tuskegee experiment in the
Mm-hmm.
I want to say early 20s, early 30s, that
there's
America, the CIA conducted against black men. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely. I think it was either black men or the entire black community, but still, yeah, there's definite. Yeah, vaccinations were definitely used negatively against a community. That does not mean, however, that we need to outright reject vaccinations because, well, the government supports it. You can say the government supports it, but there's a lot of people in the government saying not to take it and that they're rejecting to take it. So that argument doesn't even work. So
one half of the government says to not take it, but takes it anyway. The other half says to take it and takes it, right? Like, you have the Fox News people who are all vaccinated, for instance, but will go on Fox News and bang on for hours about how vaccine is government Jew mind control chips. You can't take them, like, whatever that they're talking about. Although, as I understand it, very recently they've shifted their tone a little bit on that, as the COVID death rates have accelerated the process of non-whites becoming a statistical majority in the United States. So a lot of people on Fox News, especially Tucker Carlson's, like, well, actually, maybe you should be taking vaccines. Better safe than sorry, really.
yeah, because the white people are doing. Oh no, hold on. This one actually might be serious.
I was expecting it mostly to kill off non-whites. Oh, this is
Yeah.
this is getting out of hand here.
No, but yeah, of course, there is definitely a healthy skepticism of the American government that we all need to take. Which there's definitely moments where we need to be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, the mask mandate, yes, good. The vaccine, good. Everything else they say, they can shove it up their own ass. But there's definitely moments where you have to sit back and say, okay, well, yes, I don't like what the American government has to say, but in this moment, they are right in telling us to get the vaccine.
And one has to be equipped with a means to tell when is truthful and when is it untruthful. One needs to develop the skills or be taught the skills of investigation and research. How can I find out that this thing is okay, even though the American government says I should take it? And under nominal circumstances, when the American government tells me something, I should do the exact opposite. How can one find that out? And that's a skill that needs to be taught.
Yeah, critical thinking is not something that is taught in our education system. in the United States. Like, it's just not something that we even care about, you know? Our education system wants
It's
to
either black or
create
white. Yeah.
obedient workers, right? They don't want, like, critical thinkers, like, trying to figure out whether or not everything is, you know, going great. They just want you to fucking go to work and do what they tell you.
The American schooling system is based off the Prussian schooling system, and as such, it's had this very authoritative hierarchical structure, wherein the teacher has the authority over the student, and the student interacts with the teacher as a simple binary list of commands. Incorporate this information, repeat this information when I want you to, move on to the next series of informations and such, do this task, do that task, function as this in a very segmented way, until which point the schooling ends and you do the same thing at work, because the school wasn't teaching you this list of history, it wasn't teaching you science, it wasn't teaching you that, it was teaching you how to follow orders.
Yeah.
How to remember a list of things to do, fulfill that list of things to do, and wait for the next list.
Yeah. Because, I mean, when you're getting out of these classrooms, you're not really learning anything. You're just kind of like, oh, I remembered terms, I remembered things, but I don't really know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't really know what the hell I'm learning. I'm just, hey, I remembered facts. That's about it. And because, someone, I forgot who, so Blattvig said, teach what to think instead of how to think. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. They're telling you, okay, this, and this, and this. We're not going to tell you how to get to these kind of conclusions. We're not going to teach you how people got to these conclusions. We're not going to teach you how to actually think it through. We're just going to tell you this and remember it. That's it.
In a function, yes, there's definitely a amount of factoids that they want you to remember. You know, anything anti-communist or anything liberal or anything conservative or anything capitalist, etc. There's these factoids that they want you to remember so you can regurgitate it later on in life if the situation needs arise. But again, the function of the schooling, and the same reason, and you can tell that this is the function of the schooling because America chooses not to centralize its schooling system on the matter of curriculum, but on the matter of its structure. And that structure is this commandism, right? Wherein this relationship between teacher and student, that is the thing that America fully cares about. Not really the things that the children are being taught, which is why states, counties, parishes, etc. are the ones who really get to teach what goes into the books, or get to determine that, right? So you can go to somewhere in the South and you get this, slaves actually liked being enslaved, and there's only been 3 wars. Or you can go into the North and you get a little bit more liberal teaching, or you can go into the West and get this different teaching, et cetera, depending on state and county, et cetera, and all these different things. But at the end of the day, every classroom looks the same and behaves the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody, has to, is at the whim of the teacher. It doesn't matter what is going on. The teacher's, has complete control, no matter what. It's a complete control of how these kids think, which, kids should be able to.
The teacher is simply the node of command. They act in the classroom as a thing that gives orders from a thing that have given orders, and the student exists as a thing that accepts these orders and follows through with them, so that, again, when it comes time, they can do the same thing in a supermarket or a workshop or whatever.
So Sarah says, if you're against vaccines because they're made by big corporations, then you literally should not buy any products.
Yeah. Everything's made by big corporations. But of course, people would use it, say, share the meme like, oh, you're against capitalism, and you participate in capitalism. And it's not really comparable, because you can't say that, I will not do the same because it's made by a big corporation. Well, then if you're going to say that you won't take the vaccine, that is a factor in public health that will protect other people, which is far more important than your personal feelings. It is if you want to apply it to that, then not apply it to every single thing, because
right? Like,
then you won't have anything.
I don't want to put vaccines in my body. I don't know where it came from. Also, does cocaine?
Yeah, for example, these people like constantly talking about big pharma or whatever. What about big tech? What about big agriculture? Shut up. I'm not saying these people are necessarily good, but if that's your argument, it's not one.
Vaccines to prevent white genocide. Hell yeah, brother.
Suddenly, all the Republicans got it.
If the vaccine was really bad, they would be exporting them to the global south en masse. I mean, that's probably true.
Yeah, so the vaccine thing, people were talking about that it was it was rushed and stuff. It's that's what I thought too at first. That's what I was thinking. I was like, huh, they made the vaccine so quickly. What's that about? But then I actually looked into it and looked into the science of how it was made. The technology to make a vaccine of this nature, the one that we're being that is being given to us, has been in the works for decades. All right, so it's just so a matter of applying it to the coronavirus. That's all it is. That's why it took that's why it happened so quickly. And when I learned that, that's when I was like, okay, I think I could trust this vaccine, because yeah, it's a healthy thing of skepticism. Because at first I was like, oh no, I don't like the way this sounds. This is happening way too quick. Because early on they were talking about how it's going to take much longer. Then all of a sudden, oh yeah, this will be ready by this summer or whatever, earlier really. And I was like,
honestly,
I don't know how I feel about that.
Trump was
then,
making me super nervous about it, because he's like, we're going to go warp speed, and I'm like, that's fucking, that's a scary thought, and yeah,
I mean,
feel
that's
like
why
it's
for
normal
like a
for
couple
us to
months I
have
didn't
these
take the vaccine.
reservations. Yeah. It just, yeah, like you said, doing a little more, digging into, hey, these things aren't just, he didn't just like make them up.
Fucking send it, dude. Send it. No, just that was my biggest problem, because I wasn't obviously a vaccine expert, but I did know vaccines take time to make. I knew that, and so that's why I had I was skeptical at first, and then once it's just fucking learn, dude. Just think, look into the science of it, and then it makes sense why it came out as quickly as it did, even though it really was like a year and so months after. But
Yeah, so COVID-19 has the same viral category as the flu and SARS. They're based off those vaccines.
yeah.
Magoki says, not gonna lie, I waited till a bunch of white people and big shots got it because I lucked out and I work from home. Night. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, the best way to find out if something is safe is if rich people start taking it.
Like, oh, the rich people took it. All right, I guess it's safe to take then.
It's not always the perfect
always
way.
the
You
case,
have
but-
the Steve Jobs drink fruit juice to cure cancer.
Oh, God. Yeah, he died.
But
I'm
for the
fucking
most part, it
laughing.
works.
He died and I'm laughing. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, clever name.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to read Marx's talk. Like, there's a certain limit that capitalism will protect its workforce. There are layer of the proletariat that is expendable to capitalism. That's why you see no real restrictions here in the U.S., because some of the proletariat is whatever. probably why SOCDEM countries have better mandates, because they are smaller and a bigger loss of the prole is more catastrophic for them.
I mean, that's that's Reserve Army of Labor, right? For the most part, the Reserve Army of Labor exists to undercut wages. That, like, their function is, well, there's so many unemployed people, we can just give you their job, or we can just give them your job if you, ask too many questions. And
that's why unemployment's such a big problem, because, and why it will never get resolved. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of unemployment is to make sure the people working have crappy wages and won't have good benefits. Because, hey, you want to complain? There's 500 other people looking for a job. So either continue working or get out.
Or perish. That's what they freaking...
And because their lives are entirely expendable in their position, a lot of them can die before they need to do anything. If it starts getting too low and, say, like 150, 200 of those 500 people looking for the same job die, well, now maybe it's not that much of a competitive market, and your workers maybe can think about getting better pay. I mean, that's happening right now. We can, a couple months ago, the newsosphere is awash of stories of employees just leaving.
Yeah, at my old job before I left for college, the thing is, my job is the job I had was extremely secretive. It's very important to the Texas economy, actually. And I don't want to say just how secretive the job is. If people were to ask you where do you work, you're not allowed to say.
Oh.
And you don't even know the location of the job until you're hired.
Oh.
And there's no sign advertisement. So what was happening is that I worked in one of the most important parts of the entire building. And they were just... the managers was just complete crap. A lot of us were complaining because we had to work. We had to show up. We were like the only ones who actually had to show up in office during the entire pandemic. And then while everybody was staying at home, and then they took away our hazard pay, even though we were still the only ones coming in. So that we got really upset with that, and then they started making us leave early from work just so we can't get overtime.
Wow.
And then so after a while, people started leaving. Okay, so this is supposed to be this is part of the area where they're working. The amount of people that are supposed to be working in there is, hold on, let me see, 11 people, right? 11 people are supposed to be working in this area. The people that ended up working it by the time I left was like 5. All right.
Oh,
so just 5 of us was trying to, we're 5 of us was working to, uphold the Texas economy. And I don't think they really realized this, but I was trying to tell them, like, dude, listen, I think we should just leave. Hey, what are they going to do? We leave, and then all of a sudden the entire Texas just crashes. What are they going to do about it?
That would have been so cool, Reggie.
Yeah, so, I just left because I had enough of it. A lot of people had enough of it, too, and other people are going to leave, and they're just they so badly do not want to pay people that they're explicitly not hiring people. They're seriously just not hiring people so they don't have to pay anymore. But then guess what happens when they don't pay for more people? More people are going to have more work thrown on them, and then they're going to want to leave too. But yeah, just the last couple months was the most stressful months I've worked there. For 2 years. For the 2 years I worked there, it was fine or whatever. I didn't really like it too much. With the last couple of months, I was like, I have to fucking leave. I have to go. I just can't do this. Because the amount of work we got is just fucking insane. And then we weren't getting paid a livable wage. Our hazard pay was taken away while we were the only ones who had to come into work. And, people after people were leaving because none of them wanted to listen to our complaints. None of them wanted to listen to us when we had, hey, this is how it should be run. Because, hey, we're the only ones who are actually running this thing. So, that every now and then, of course, we get that email like, oh, we're so grateful for you guys. We're so thankful for being part of our family. Shut the fuck up. Give us a pay raise.
Our COVID heroes, our service workers, who are keeping the world running while COVID's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Who they'll get like money together to put together a commercial of appreciation for like the workers, right? But
love to feel appreciated.
But they're
love to have a company-wide thank you for continuing to work card.
Yeah.
Like, throw that in the fucking garbage. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, give me some fucking hazard pay. Give me some literally anything. Like, don't fucking... Ugh.
Yeah, fucking bribe me. I'll take it. Get me fucking bribe to stay here.
So, I just want to say, like, another thing that the anti-theory left say is a theory is great, but it shouldn't be worshipped as if it's the only game in town. Like, what?
Nobody worships it. Nobody does.
Nobody
actually, you know what? I don't want to say that. I'm sure there are people out there that do worship theory, but you cannot say that.
Dogmatists.
There are definitely certain people out there who worship theory or whatever, but to use it as a blanket statement for people who push theory, who say you should read theory, it's just so stupid.
There are certainly dogmatists who are absolutely fanatical of this is what Lenin said and you have to do it exactly as Lenin said. People out there in the world. But the question is, what is a bigger problem right now? The sake of being practical, right? What is the bigger problem right now? People who treat theory books as the Bible and will stone you if you put a comma in the wrong place, or people who are not reading theory at all. Which one of these two groups has the higher number?
Yeah.
Is your is your channel on here Comrade Clever Name? Just like
on Twitch it is Comrade Clever Name.
Okay.
On Twitter it's at CC Clever Name because they couldn't put Comrade because it'd be too long.
Okay, I'm just making sure I get you shouted out.
Mm.
So I keep finding these like anti-theory tweets, and I'm just gonna keep reading them. I never needed to read theory. I live the theory, or I live the life y'all reading about. Like, first of all,
what do you think we're reading?
Again, we see a reoccurrence of the idea that theory is simply writing down that my life sucks.
Yeah.
What's the function of reading a book about how my life sucks? I'm living my life as we speak. There's no understanding of this idea that theory is people who are doing something about it and writing it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's just their whole critique of theory comes from a place of they don't know what the hell theory is. So what they're critiquing is not even what they're critiquing about. It's like, what? You're saying like, oh, I don't like this because of this. Like, well, you're just saying something it's not even about. What the hell are you talking about?
Like, it's very rare for someone talking about sort of themes in the chat right now. And it's very rare that someone gets radicalized from theory. It happens every now and again, but it's very rare. People usually get radicalized from lived experiences. But one forges that radicalization into something through theory. As a person is, a radicalized person is molten metal that one must shape into something. And theory assures that they are shaped into a sword.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it, because a lot of when people say you don't need to theory to get radicalized, it's hard to tell what they mean by what they're saying. Because of course, you can't say like, oh yeah, of course you're not going to be radicalized by theory. You get radicalized and theory comes in to shape your radicalization, or when people just say when they say, "Oh yeah, I don't need theory to get radicalized," sometimes they just mean, "Oh, I don't need theory to form my radicalization," which is another thing. So it's just hard, yeah, it is hard for me and personally. It's hard to tell what they mean sometimes by when they say, "Oh, I didn't get radicalized through theory." Like, yeah, okay, I agree with the statement, but what do you mean by getting radicalized? No, I know what you meant in our Coyote. I'm just saying, I see it in like by other people too.
Yeah, like, so there's this person who's saying that, like, saying reading theory is both classist and ableist. Theory doesn't radicalize people like life does. It's not a gospel.
Poor people don't know how to read.
It's not a gospel, and people don't always have the time and energy to dig into whatever arbitrary amount of books you think is necessary to achieve revolutionary status. Like, another just huge false, like, characterization of the use of fucking theory. Like,
yeah, it's always in classist analysis. So like, oh well, you telling poor people to read is classist. I mean, you suggesting that
You
poor people
fucking
can't read is
classist, don't you
classist.
know? You fucking classist, don't you know? Poor people are dumb.
Poor people can't read, classist bitch.
yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I
Like-
feel like it's kind of classist and ableist for you to assume that, like, that feels classist
Yeah.
and ableist. Why?
I actually
are you
didn't
saying
see
that?
your response, but I think that's just a common response that everyone has at this point. People are just kind of tired. Like, it's
tired of
classist
it.
and ableist to assume they can't read or have the time to read.
Classism and ableism is usually the like final thought terminating cliche to make the argument end. Just sort of words to say to make the argument. I actually remember a person from a little while ago, whom every now and again, every couple of months or so, the same discourse will happen on Twitter because the machine algorithm is specifically
yeah.
designed to cause us to fight constantly rather than do anything productive. And whenever that comes up, this person's like, well, it's classist or it's ableist to tell people to read. You know how it's bad? Not everyone can read, or they have ADHD, which makes it harder for them to read. Are these different, different things? And later on, they didn't remember me from like several
fine, then
arguments that
don't
we
read it
had, and
all
I
at
saw them.
once.
And I saw them in a different server, just like ranting, like just a horrible ableist screed, right? This is all hypocritical nonsense. This means nothing to them. It's just words. It is ableist to read theory. Fuck wheelchair ramps, right? like, none of this means anything. It's all words. It's pointless. They have imagined a person for whom to be offended for the purpose of ending the discussion.
Yeah, a lot of people just would pull that stuff just to shut because they at that point they know they don't have a valid argument. They know they're going to lose it because they are wrong. So they just with that they just try to shut down the conversation. And someone talked about the Proletarian's Handbook, and guess what? I have it.
Oh my god, I have that too. Oh, it's like over there, but yeah, I have that.
Yeah. I think it's funny because whenever someone brings up a book, I have it. Someone asks about it. Oh yeah, I have that book too.
And I think the subject of how a person understands the act of reading theory itself is a bit problematic, wherein it is itself moved down to the purpose of individualism again, where they cannot imagine the act of reading theory as anything but you sitting in like a smoking jacket on a lounge chair, just beside a fire by yourself in your
We're
study.
drinking some scotch or wine or whatever.
Yeah, drinking scotch and just reading theory. Like, they can't imagine this as anything aside from this very personal and relaxatory action, right? It's very leisure action. In Vietnam and Cuba and Russia and etc. and China and so forth, there were reading groups like the Bolshevik Party or the Red Peasants Army or the Vietnamese communists or any one of these different groups would gather into the town square, pull out a book, and just start
I
reading
do
it in
have that
public.
book.
Nice.
They just start reading it in public as the sort of reading circle for everyone in the community.
That reminds me of how Yukong moved mountains and like, what a world to live in.
Like,
Yeah.
when we talk about reading theory, we should be understanding the process of reading theory as a communal act. You and your friends or your tenants or your family or your workplace, even just whatever, this group of people, you have gotten together and are reading it together and are discussing it together, rather than, again, you in a lounge coat just sipping on some brandy by yourself.
Yeah, like
Like-
what I always say is, reading theory is good, but it is best to read with friends, like, because first of all,
Yeah.
we can, run into misinterpretations
Bounce off each
of
other,
the
you know?
text. Yeah, like several times I've misinterpreted text and had to bring
And
it
this is
to a group
precisely-
and be like, hey, what does this mean? Can we talk this over? Because I don't really understand this.
And this is precisely
Yeah.
this is in fact much more accommodating to the disabled and the those without the time to read, because it allots the ability to discuss more and like work with these people so that they can also have access to this information that they desperately need. It's far more accommodating to the disabled than just saying, well, some people can't read on Twitter to shut down an argument, to use a person's identity as a shield for your perfectly capable ability to read, but your willful choice to not.
Oh my god, fucking Blot says, I read some Mal because Sal linked stuff to me. It took me quite a long time because reading is hard for my eyes and brain. Same. It's totally same. But goddamn it, I did it. She didn't quiz me and she didn't give me a star sticker. And this injustice also radicalized me.
Sal, give Blackvig their
I'm so sorry.
sticker. Okay.
You know what? I will be, more giving with the praise after you read the theory. I'm sorry. I will adjust that. And he says, or they, I don't know, I just gender them.
I'm going
sorry,
with they.
but
Yeah, I don't know.
they say, I watched hours and hours of that Yukong doc, and I need you to talk about what happened after. Help me integrate what I saw into my brain and worldview.
Mao died, and then it was capitalist restoration. Rip. But I haven't finished watching the documentary. I was going to watch it in full, but then we started watching it on stream. So I was just gonna watch it then. I missed
Thursday-
Wednesday. Completely forgot about it. But,
Thursday
yeah.
next week is going to be our day. Okay.
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 So this upcoming Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So this Thursday we would watch part 2, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, and but basically Mao died, and like, how do we fucking prevent,
R.I.P. to a real one.
I just, that how do we prevent people from fucking the shit up that we build, Like, it happened to Stalin, it happened to Mao. Like,
It's because there wasn't a. You see, this is a critique of the people. People say we never critiqued them. Well, there was a critique of not properly getting rid of the opportunists and revisionists inside the party. So, yeah. Keisha's right. This chat has devolved into a debate over vaccines when the stream's about anti-intellectualism. I don't know. Well, you can say that.
Feels like that ties
these
in.
anti-vaxxers, ties in. Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many anti-intellectuals here in the chat. Welcome in, sweaties. Read a book.
Okay, so I'm trying to educate myself to the point where I become a member of TRA. TRA. Are you talking about the Red Army? Because I think that's the only thing I know that's TRA.
That's so funny. That would be hilarious.
Mm. Yeah, in order to become a part of the Red Army, we're going to assign you a couple books. You have to take a quiz at the end, and then maybe we'll allow you on. Like, okay, that's what I thought it was pronounced at first. I thought it was pronounced the Reed Army.
Oh
At
my
first,
god,
I
you guys
didn't
are
get it.
killing me.
I thought, I didn't get it. I thought it was a dumb name, but I didn't say anything. Hold on. When I first read it, I read it as the Reed Army. I thought that's a stupid name. And then you guys started saying the Red Army. I was like, oh, I get it. Okay. That's actually a pretty good name. So,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I thought I was being so clever, and also the Red Army with just an E was taken. Shit. Sea lions can be genuine. It doesn't make sea lion any less annoying. Yeah. Yeah, so Smooth is a sea lion, which is a name for, oh god, Noam Chomsky. I agree. Or agree with you. Oh, that's a funny name. We laugh at Chomsky. But
Chomsky.
yeah, do you know what a sea lion is? A sea lion in
Yeah, I
the
know what
chat.
a sea lion is.
No, it's a sea lion in a chat. In your chat, if you have a sea lion, that means it's somebody who is asking questions that they're pretending they're good faith, but they're really just like taking up time and they don't really give a shit.
Oh, okay. Just making noise
They're
then.
going oh like a sea lion does.
So, Comrade Barrick says, I keep saying Reed because my friend and I talk about both you and the Red Army enough that I need to be clear. Okay, I get it. All right. But hey, nice. Talk about us. Cool.
Let Chomsky die with dignity and stop bringing him on in your interviews.
No, listen. Our plan is to interview him and see if he dies on stream.
Oh my god, we should email him. We should email Chomsky and ask him to come on. It's okay, Ordog. Welcome in. Concern trolling is the best definition I know. Yeah, it's concern trolling.
Or Doug, you joined at the best time when I was talking about having Chomsky on stream to see if he died.
Oh, God. So funny.
I can't finish that sentence without laughing. But no, just honestly, just stop emailing Chomsky. My God. Just stop. And yeah, that person's like talking about, what would they talk about? Critical race theory. And then he just emailed back saying, yeah, I agree. Thanks for your
good.
insightful.
Hasn't he said that he's going to stop replying to emails at this point?
Did he say that? Oh my God, that's so funny.
I think I recall that being said. I don't remember if he has or has not.
Mm.
Oh my
That'd be
God, if we could get
hilarious.
Zizek on here, ugh. I don't know if we can pull like that.
Listen, we were lucky enough to get Dr. Bear on here. Talking about these other people. That's only because we know him.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't Squirrel email Chomsky? Yeah,
Yeah,
Squirrel's
that's
probably
what
the
we were
reason
talking
why
about.
he turned his email
But I didn't
off.
want to mention them. I don't actually want to say that. Well, yeah, that was the person I was talking about.
Oh yeah, Comrade Clever Name is a pull too. We're super excited to have her here.
I'm not legit.
Clever
I am
name
quite
over
dumb. I would not follow me.
Psh, yeah, Comrade
Listen,
Clever
we're
Name
all
is
idiots over here. We're just really good at convincing you we're not stupid.
Oh, I'm definitely stupid. The whole like elitism thing too is so funny because like I fucking grew up in like a trailer, like very poor, and like I'm not like I just don't know, like I don't know where this comes from. Like the characterization of me when you say that I'm elitist is just
Yeah.
so
For example,
false.
if either one of my parents was to be fired, they'd be living out in the street. in no time. When I was growing up, I didn't know this growing up because my parents made sure to, shield me from that. But my parents would sometimes go to bed hungry just to make sure that, at least we ate because there wasn't enough food. We didn't have enough money for that. So they would go to bed hungry. And so, yeah, it was definitely was just no, oh, I'm here, this, sitting on top above all these people, I'm so elite or whatever. Nah, dude. Just one bad day, and everything could have been falling apart. So shut up with your "I'm being elitist" bull crap. I'm living on the fucking nail thread here. I don't know any day when they're just gonna be like, "Hey, dude, you haven't been paying. Get the fuck out."
The quality of elitism is again the association with a college professor, wherein this person, I presume, but this person's like, who was the last person who told me to read books? My teacher, my professor, and I don't like them because I didn't like doing homework, and therefore they're elitists, and no mommies, no bedtimes. Please stop. There's a lot of association because with a lot of Western left, it's the ego run rampant. They have not done any critique on themselves, only on the world around them, and they haven't done any internal work. And so, as such, they're just allowing their low mind and ego to subsume them in total and run off these associations and symbols and different lower forms of thinking, usually for the purpose of maintaining comfort and to not have their ideas and their personage assaulted too much. Because for a lot of people, they associate their ideology with as a quality of themselves, right, as part of their identity.
Yeah. So people started talking about Hayes again. Listen, he's just constantly sharing anti-communist propaganda. Granted, I'm there, but still. He just always playing the videos. I didn't know he read an anti-communist book. Did he?
Yeah, I think we did. It was like an American. Oh God, what was it called, Meryl? I don't remember what it was called, but that book was terrible. But it was funny to read.
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious.
Oh my God! God damn, that fucking crushed my ears.
That was it just...
Woo! Yeah, I feel... Ugh. How are you all feeling? Yeah. I feel pretty good about our cover.
Yeah, it's not a too long stream, but it was a pretty good one. Yeah.
I'm good. I have recently had a coffee, so I am juiced and conscious.
Yeah. You can just continue going.
I just woke up from a freaking nap right before this, and I want to go back to my nap, which at this point is just called sleep.
No, it's just a really long nap. So. Yes,
the longest nap, the dirt nap. Mm. Oh wait, not that one. Shit.
So.
I'm sorry. Wait, what? Oh my goodness. Okay. So, I like feminist critique. I don't know if she's singing right now. Are there any questions, anything want to be said in the chat? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes, John Drew, free Palestine. Absolutely.
Yes, free Palestine. Favorite ice cream.
I am had the horrible misfortune of being reminded of all of the Jews are tired articles yesterday as I was talking to a friend. And
when that person was complaining about free parking.
Yeah, and free pee, and I was shaking in my boots. I was crying. I was sobbing.
Wait, what was it?
I think it was Eve Barlow shared a
Oh,
tweet about
I believe
that.
her name
Eve
is Fartlow,
Excuse
Yeah, sorry,
me.
Eve Fartlow.
Yes.
Sorry. My bad. To Eve Fartlow, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing your name.
I'm sorry, Zion Queen.
Just
And then
kidding.
that
Get
new
bumped.
guy, Blake. What kind of fucking name is Blake? Shut up.
There's a new anti-tanky person on the that I keep seeing around, Tara, this like verified person who's like, oh, what did they say? God, it was so silly.
Most of the time of my Twitter is just hanging out in the chat, so
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on too much in the timeline. And then also I've been off Twitter for a while because school, so which I need to continue. So
I think there was an interview where Fred Hampton said that they were opportunists and that their strategies were counterproductive. Wait, what did Silver say?
Lex Stuck says that Tira was the lady who wrote about the anarchist who was thrown into a gulag, which I don't believe narrows it down.
That's right. Yeah, they were saying, oh, that this person was released from a gulag, and I don't know. It was ridiculous, and everyone's like making fun of the person, like especially me. I was like, damn, it doesn't seem like gulag work. We need a second round.
I deeply hate learning about history and knowing that most American anarchists had to go to the Soviet Union and continued to live in the Soviet Union and were perfectly fine and unharmed by the state. And lived as part of Soviet society for the remainder of their lives during the 1930s through 50s.
Trump 2021 says, MAGA.
Love to say MAGA.
Well, thank you. We have a live anti-intellectual right here in the chat. Trump, welcome in.
listen, all I'm saying is bring back Trump's Twitter account. All right, I'm not saying make him president, although he was a hilarious president, just the most fucking wild guy out there. But his Twitter game, magnificent.
Nobody beats him.
Yeah. No,
one of the best posters on the site. If he was still around, I would have done portion of my 9/11 anniversary stream with just having the Trump tweet of I wish all the haters a happy 9/11.
I didn't know he did that, but that's so fucking iconic. I like his one where he just tweeted China at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Oh
show
my
off the
God.
full. Oh, okay. Well, here's the full hoodie.
Oh my God, it's
Love
so
the
cute.
right showing it. Yeah.
They have a new show on Paramount, and I really like it. I thought it was so cute. They made the grandpa like, they made him a fucking activist, but a lib activist. So it's like, eh. It's like, eh. What was I gonna say?
Mike Barrick says also in Berlin, when the anarchists got in trouble with the cops, in West Berlin, they would flee over the wall to the East Berlin specifically because the East cops would hide the anarchists and tell the West cops to fuck off. But like a couple Russian anarchists who mailed pipe bombs to Soviet officials that went to the gulag. This is the sign of tyranny. Being arrested for committing crimes.
Make
How
Trump
dare
president
you
of
not let
Twitter.
us spam people.
Right?
Okay, so what the fuck is the deal with the Fred Hampton leftists? They're insulting Fred Hampton. Alright. They pretend to be revolutionaries, but all they ever peddle is third-party reformism.
Oh
They're
my
reformists.
God. I didn't know how, like, okay, so sometimes I do like tweets that are specifically to the Fred Hampton left. But I just
Oh
like,
crap! Are we not supposed to say anything? Oh well, I already said it.
well,
Love the myth that people were fleeing from East Germany to West Germany, and not that intellectuals were moving to West Germany because they could get better pay. Doctors, lawyers knew that they had better pay in West Germany than in East Germany, so they had left.
Mhm.
yeah. The Fred Hampton left. They're very nice. But they are a group who could stand closer to theory. Like with the book open or something. And their
We
face
don't need
looking at
theory.
it.
Fred Hampton himself had never done anything.
Ah!
Fred Hampton was famously anti-theory.
Crying. I'm crying.
Fred Hampton was famous for being anti-authoritarian.
Oh.
Oh my god, I can't believe people just keep, yeah, Kwame Teru. Well, here I go.
Oh my gosh. Reggie is actually a library.
Shut up. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I actually have another one. Alright. Ready for Revolution by Stokely Carmichael, or Kwame Teru. Another one, Stokely Speaks.
Nice.
And Black Power. The Politics of Liberation. So, yes.
Assign homework.
Yes, it's read it. Yes, it is kind of funny that I just have like, hey, yeah, this. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Okay, so actually a little housekeeping too. We are going to go down to 3 days a week so we can like have, you know, the highest quality of content for y'all. We like tomorrow we are going to do the news because we didn't do it on Friday, but we're going to do it on Sunday. But next week's schedule goes like this. Thursday is going to be how Yukong moved mountains. Friday is going to be weekly news update, and
Oh, are we also doing the news this Sunday too, right?
yeah, we are doing one tomorrow. Yeah. And then on Saturday we are going to be discussing what is the left and infantile disorder? I don't remember the thing, but
I don't know.
specifically
Just teaching us something.
yeah. Well, we're going over like should we participate in bourgeois elections? And we're going to, you know, have a probably a heated discussion on within the Red Army itself as whether or not we can and should participate in bourgeois elections, whether our material conditions meet the criteria which Lenin was referring to. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing on Saturday. Should be spicy.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't hate spicy?
Yeah, Marxist Duck and I were already arguing about this. But yeah. And we are on opposite ends of this argument. But yeah, we will.
Yeah, I just think there's a difference.
But they say I'm a tanky, I'm a tanky, yeah, I'm a tanky, yeah, I'm a tanky. We're riding that tank, mowing down the fucking snowflakes.
Fucking tankies. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by this stupid tanky, you know, I do think there's a difference between 19th century Russia and 21st century America. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Tankies do disagree. We disagree. We are not mindless theory worshipping the same thing saying people. We have our thoughts and we're not all the same. Oh my God, shock! It's so surprising.
No, I'm sorry, but everybody has to agree with me. Otherwise, you get the fucking wall. All right, agree with me or die.
Speak for yourself. I'm an autonomous drone.
Wait, you guys can think for yourself? When did you guys start doing that?
Yeah, blah. And see, that's a discussion we can definitely have. But like,
Yeah, but that was never up to vote for me. So they criminalized weed. That's like, hey, look, if that was a thing, yeah, I'd say decriminalize it. But it's not like they're going too much to the people for those kind of stuff. Or maybe that's just because I live in Texas, and why would they ask the people if they want something?
okay. If someone disagrees with you, you can change your mind. You're much more open and convinced. I'm not gonna read that. What else we got here? Literally don't know what a tanky is anymore. Tanky is a pejorative for somebody saying something I don't like. Like, it's just, yeah, it doesn't have like a meaning really anymore, because of the misuse. I mean,
But they say I'm a tanky. I'm a tanky. Yeah, I'm a tanky. Yeah, I'm a tanky. We're riding that tank, mowing down the fucking snowflakes.
I still haven't done the they can kiss because they're married thing. God damn it.
Yeah, so I actually finally I clipped it finally.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so
send me that clip and I'll
and I just put it in
nice. Okay, I'm gonna make a sound alert out of that. Like,
it was really, really long. So because there was a moment of where we were all just sitting there like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
are you echoing?
Yeah.
You guys are married. You can kiss on the lips.
I know. That's just capitalism, bro. Yeah,
Are you echoing?
Yeah.
You guys are married. You can kiss on the lips.
I know. That's just capitalism, bro. Yeah,
Are you echoing?
Yeah.
You guys are married. You can kiss on the lips.
I know. That's just capitalism, bro. Yeah,
Are you echoing?
How do I stop? Hang on.
You guys are married. You can kiss on the lips.
Fuck, it's so funny.
Yeah, and the thing is that we were sitting there for like a minute or so, just like, because we all individually thought it was on our end. We all thought only we could hear it. We were kind of like, what the hell? Why am I hearing a loop? And then I don't know. And then, like, one of us mentioned it up, like, oh, okay, so we all can hear it. What the hell is going on? I think someone in the chat said something.
I had taken an edible, and I was not ready for that to happen. I was like, whoa.
You were in the worst state.
Oh, shit. You heard Hayes say that like 25 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot. Reunification made a lot of people change their minds. Most people in the GDR wanted to reunify. Oh. Oh my gosh, Austria. Bloomberg.
Yeah, a lot of people left East Germany. They did. Because there was a higher pay in West Germany. No one's disagreeing with that. But let's see what you could buy with that money. There's a lot more in East Germany. And also, yeah, they didn't really have products in East Germany, which did play a part of a factor into why the people in East Germany wanted to reunify. And then guess what happened? The people in East Germany were like, oh, crap. Nah. I want to go back.
Another socialist state that was lacking in luxury goods. And a part of human life is having luxury goods. People just like them. It's nice. It's a treat.
Yeah.
And since the Soviets prioritized heavy industry and agriculture and stuff like that, and did not consider luxury goods to be necessary at all, that caused a lot of rifts in the public, which meant things like, I want a syncretic government. I want East and West Germany to unify. I want all of the labor rights of the West Germany or of East Germany. I want all of the democratic governments of the East Germany. I want all the labor power, all of the working hours, all that stuff of East Germany, and I want the money of West Germany.
Yeah. And, you want, hey, we also like, why? Who cares about how much West Germans were technically making more? Yeah, cool. Yeah, they were making more money, but guess what? You could live in a house. You could get food for your kids. Your kids could get a good education. Who
Which,
cares?
after the reunification, most people had realized the problem with the wealth of West Germany was predominantly a facade done by America to just inflate the country, right? Just pumping money into it to make it look rich.
Yeah, that is true, Keish. That is true.
Most people were miserable, and when East Germany collapsed, a lot of people became workless because they didn't have that assurance of labor and they weren't very competitive in the market. And human life quality in East Germany just absolutely fell apart when they had to integrate with West Germany. Aside from America is no longer pouring money onto them, which caused a lot of the West Germans to be up shit river.
Yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of people thought West Germany was doing much better, because, like, look how much money they have. Well, yeah, you have to realize that, yeah, the U.S. is just absolutely dumping a crap ton of money into them. But then, and then they left the rest of Western Europe to rebuild themselves. Which I find hilarious.
The Soviet Union had a coup in its government, and now they don't have to spend any money on Europe ever again.
Yeah.
And Europe has been slowly becoming worse and worse.
Be in Africa, if you like Comrade Clevername's voice, you should follow
stream
her
once a weekday.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I agree. She does have a very nice voice. Very nice voice.
There we go. Uh-oh. My video just went kooky.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that. They were trans rights, or at least I'm just conflating it, because they did have pretty good gay rights and GDR or DDR, whatever you want to call them. And
the DDR was definitely very socially progressive, especially relative to other Eastern Bloc countries. There were, famously there was the state-owned gay discotheca in East Berlin. DDR means the Demokratie Deutschland der Republik.
No, I know what they said.
No, someone had
Dance
asked what
Revolution.
DDR mean. Someone
Dance
asked what DDR
Revolution,
meant.
yes.
DDR is obviously Dance Revolution.
Fair. But over in Germany they call it Deutschland.
Yeah. I always find that weird when we pronounce countries by a different word than the country they pronounce it themselves. Like, they call themselves Deutschland. Why are we saying Germany? What the fuck? Same goes for any other country.
It's part of the Anglo-Saxon tradition of respecting no one at all.
Like, hey, listen, just call their countries by the name that they call themselves. Instead of saying Spain, say España. Why? Because that's what they call themselves. I'm getting unnecessarily mad for no reason, but hey, it's just stuff I just think about, and I'm just like, this is stupid.
I believe there was actually a reason why English speakers called Deutschland Germany rather than its German name, which is again, for anyone who's familiar with the history of English, being that English is a descendant of the Proto-Germanic language.
Mm-hmm.
No, that stuff. I can't recall the story exactly why they call it that right now.
Israel, what the hell is that? I only know about Palestine. What?
Hey. All right. So I feel pretty good about this stream. What do you think? Should we send them off to Feminist Critique?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just plug the Discord really quick. So I can, and Ba, 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 ba. Boom.
Oh, you did that. Okay. I'm going
Why'd you
to
put TW trigger warning?
because on mine I have TW as Twitter, but it's not the command for this one. Oops.
Chat is always chaotic. Alright. I love chat, but sometimes you guys just hang on to one thing and talk about it the whole time.
I like Native who just like asks us like personal questions the whole time. Like, what's your favorite video game style?
Video game style? I don't know if I have a really specific video game style, even though I do tend to like the more calming things. And ironically, I include Red Dead Redemption in that because even though there are a lot of fight scenes in it, there's still a lot of just riding around on horses, and I just really like that part. I really like the calming effect. For example, recently I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley because
yeah.
I like how calm it is. It's just, hey, I'm just being a farmer over here.
I've been streaming Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'll start doing that again this Monday.
Yeah.
And I have yet for a moment found peace. It is a chaotic mess. I keep driving my horse into trees.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, so the
love
first
that
time I
game.
played Red Dead Redemption before I got a hold of the controls, I accidentally killed someone because I didn't know the control. Because I didn't know the controls, and instead of, I think I just wanted to look at them, or they said something to me. They said something to me, and I wanted to interact with them, but instead I pulled out my gun and just killed them. It's like, oh crap, I gotta leave.
I like one time I had the best kill ever. It was in the hatchet game. You know, where you're like with a single hatchet and like you have to like just hatchet people or whatever. Me and Kami Buddhist or Champagne Brocheless now, we hit each other at the same time with an axe and killed each other, like double kill, like we killed each other. It was so epic.
Bloodvig has said I failed to suggest his next book or their next book, so I'm just gonna pull out a random book and say read it. All right. Revolutionary Suicide by Hugh P. Newton. That's what you have to read, and there is no questions about it. Just read it because I told you to.
Oh, I do need to read that one. I've heard like many great things about that book. So many things to read. So much unfinished communist literature.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put all this stuff away once we hop off the stream.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Because now I'm trying to have like a pile of books right next to me that I hold out during stream.
You love to clean up after show and tell. This is why I don't have a webcam. You don't have to have anything. You don't need props.
Oh my god, Undefeated Joe says, anyone here communist?
No.
Choice says, nah, this is an anarcho-monarcho channel. True.
Communism is bad, guys. They killed 100 gajillion people.
Yeah. And I'm the queen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Poland, and, the Soviets, they invaded my country, and I set up a dictatorship. My grandfather fought in a anti-communist liberation army, defending against the evils of socialism during the 40s.
So he was a Nazi.
How brave. How brave.
He's very brave. We're all proud.
My family's property was
salute him every
by
day.
Castro. My family's property was stolen by Castro, and I fled Cuba because of Castro's evil regime. And also he took away my plantation. So don't mention that part. But
Cool, that's good burn, exactly.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna raid out now into feminist critique. Thank you all for being here. It's a joy and a pleasure to have this blossoming community. Yeah. You can find.
Holy
You want
crap!
to
We were
shout
in the
yourself
40s
out?
for a good while.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want to shout
Why?
yourself out again? Oh,
Chaos points.
Yeah.
Everyone spend their points.
hey, oh my God. Smooth Combat subscribed. You know what?
Nice.
Thank you so much, Smooth Combat. Oh wait, that was Gamel. Thank you, Gamel, for, and also, God damn it.
We have to keep doing the stream a little longer. I'm at 1,760 points and just need to keep going a little bit. Make it up just a little bit more.
Well, we'll watch
Now play
the
American National Anthem.
the
Maybe
thing
one
on
day,
the way
one
out.
day.
Nothing in particular. I'm not building up to anything, of course.
Okay, we're gonna raid out. We're gonna switch streams. I love you.
Goodbye. See you when we talk about news or whatever you guys feel like watching.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just blow out.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
What are you doing with the
It was
Daily
great.
Worker?
Your
I'm
Ned
gonna
must
shout
have
you out
left it
again.
here.
Your boyfriend reads the Daily
thought-
Worker?
Honestly, it
What
would
is he, a
definitely be
communist?
really cool and great
He
if
reads
you were
everything, you know. Ned's
join
very
us
well
again.
read.
It was
Maybe
great.
Oh,
just
anytime.
very well
I'm willing to talk about anything.
Read.
Maybe next time we'll talk about important questions like what music you're listening to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's your rank in multiplayer games.
pretty low because I'm terrible at that. I prefer playing by myself so that way I don't have to compete with other people.
I'm a true communist, so I lose in first-person shooters and like different and like